We're having the same discussion for the last 15, 20 years. I mean, we really are. It's the same, over and over.
We've always assumed that we can just get some technology and fix a problem, and it's wrong. Our first subject we're going to talk about is people versus technology. It's something that we've discussed before, all of us, and I just ran into a story about and I'm not going to name any names. I don't think we should at all in this conversation, but in the 1980s, a major US car corporation that was obviously faced with lots of Japanese competition invested $40 billion in automation or robots in their factories in Detroit. So they installed all of these robots, thousands of them. But unfortunately, the managers carried on running the factories in the same way. They didn't really change the processes. Training was terrible. And the calibration of the machines was so bad that apparently the machines ended up painting each other and the walls as unfinished cars rolled past on the production line. And so it was an unmitigated disaster. I've got a quote here from the then CEO. He said, "I don't know what I was thinking. I thought we could buy technology and it would save us. The truth is, people are the key." So I thought it was really interesting because it touches on conversations we've had before. So let's just talk about, is this this is just a truism then, that you can't, we've always assumed that we can just get some technology and fix a problem, and it's wrong.
Topics which are interesting here to look at is one is employee resistance and culture. Because simply employees are not engaged with technology. They accept it. Imagine you fill in a new SAP HANA program and you just said, "I don't like it." So you have to embrace the technology and say, this is the way we go in the future. You also have organizational silos and competing goals. If you think that you have, for example, a distributor team which has to sell products to a distributor, and you have an online team which goes to the same D&E customers. So it's the alignment of the teams towards the same vision, and it's in the end it's also a leadership topic. I think you have to make it very clear what's the benefit of digitization. Bring the people together, and then things will work out in a good way.
Have we seen any disasters?
Seen thousands of disasters. It's you can start with implementing CRM projects, and adoption rate is low. Millions of investment and no sales impact. We have seen marketplaces which have a very promising value proposition, but pricing was not aligned, products not differentiated, customers not clearly segmented. I think we have seen disasters everywhere, and that's one of the biggest critics I think in B2B commerce is we invest in technology, but we have a limited business outcome, and I think that has to change in the next decade. All the companies are losing their tech USP. They have no good hunting or go to market or omni-channel strategy, and now we are sitting here not growing in the Eurozone how we could be. And on the other side, we put the legacy behavior in the forefront and not using the new digital topics where you say, let's push D&E customers into online and free up Salesforce time to do proper value proposition, go on the highest potential customers. So we have a real shift here where digital is still not accepted in the way it should accept it as the new means to bring us into the next decade.
Yeah. Do you think because interesting, we there's two sides to this, isn't there? There's all of that's logical. It all makes perfect sense, and of course you should do it. Of course we all know we should have to do it, but that's the rational side of our thinking. And actually, a lot of the things that we're talking about when we talk about resistance to change, particularly in relation to new technology, is emotional. And it really, in my view, goes down to the core of human behavior. There are two key biases at play here. One is status quo bias, just that I don't like change, I don't want things. But the other one that's bigger is loss aversion. This just fear of losing. It's the reason our wardrobes are full of clothes we don't wear anymore. We don't throw them away because we can't quite bear to part with them, even though we wouldn't actually buy them today. But interesting though that from your point, Bernd, the implication is because if loss aversion is one of the reasons that we are resistant to change, actually we could ultimately lose out in the long term because if we don't change, then the whole basis of our income or our living will erode. I mean, that's what you're describing in a way, isn't it?
Mhm.
That's what I'm describing, and I'm almost thinking what triggers change. That's a complete different discussion now. Yeah, and quite often change is triggered by really grief events like a war or accidents or a company almost going bankrupt. I have rarely seen companies who say, "What brought us here, and now we have to change and bring all the organization along." I think Frank, you had the same experiences in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And before I jump on that point, just one comment from your previous comment, Bern, because what I find interesting, if we look at it on the positive way, my experience leading digital transformation business models, you were talking about pricing. And I think when you do good digital transformation, there is a positive around the fact that you are increasing the value of the relationship, that pricing becomes a second topic because the customer is embarked into such a relationship and a loyal partnership that pricing does not become the only point of debate. First point. And my experience also is shifting to an online model, at least in consumable B2B distribution, you really have a positive effect on the margin. Where by experience, when I was in paper distribution, for example, online sales were about 4 points higher in margin than negotiated offline sales. And I think that's also part of the commercial equation that you have to explain as part of the transformation, because if you only take the approach of technology, you don't really touch the business model as a true opportunity for change. At the end, I'm realizing that we're having the same discussion for the last 15, 20 years. I mean, we really are. It's the same, over and over.
Yes, but I see it always as lost opportunity, Frank. I think it's the resistance of we have done it like 20 and 30 years. It's like you look at just look at car industry or the mobile phone industry. They reinvent every 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and it's like I think we are coming too much from. We always have the best products, or we have the best, the best customers, and we are never looking into what is the future, and how do customers want to buy. I think we forget that all the time. So there are companies. I'm just looking into a company where they say, "Oh, we have always an indirect sales via distributors. What can we do to be better?" But the fact that how do customers want to buy? They want to get information online, so you need to have your website as almost like a shop, and you just give the leads to distributors. Maybe you have even salespeople which go out physically, yeah, and visit them, or you actually make campaigns. You have all the addresses. It's like I think that complexity is not yet accepted by some of the leaders we have in the market. And I know I shouldn't criticize our peers there, but it's like the business went too good the last 20 years. There is no need to change.
But underneath that title of change management, there are some really practical things that that you can do to make change more effective. If they'd done that back in that car plant back in the 80s, it would have been more successful. Should we talk a bit about what those techniques are? Or sort of, but based on some real experience, an actual story.
Well, real experience and stories, I mean, it's all driven by changing mindsets and behaviors. What I have experienced in what I would describe as the most successful approaches, I would say most successful because you always have some drawback, some stop and go in any change management process, as you mentioned it, Steve. What worked? First, leadership by example. I mean, it definitely comes from the top. You have to send a powerful signal of commitment. Then I would say proof-based management. I think you have to have methodology. You have to have a pilot project and sometimes a pilot team as well, which will drive the project into what I define as a test and learn culture. It's okay to have some continuous improvement. It's okay to fail, and it's also okay to celebrate successes. I also liked when I was leading my the digital transformation project at Antalis, which is the European leader in paper distribution. We did some reverse mentoring where you had the younger generation leading more experienced marketing, more traditional marketing profiles, and that was really stimulating.
What a good idea. How did that work out? What happened?
It was fantastic because you were mixing uh, new technology, new digital outlook, so to speak, with solid marketing competencies that had to grow. So you are mixing the experience of the business and the marketing toolbox with a sense of modernity. I think there was really a good combination because it stimulated, and at the end, we were creating digital champions in the team. And that was raised.
Isn't it interesting? You can't do that just by working together. There has to be a change of the locus of control for that to work.
It's all
I
the
mean, there's the bias of the older, more experienced person saying, no, that's not the way we do it. It has to be overturned for it to be
Yes, but
acceptable.
yeah, and that's why I also mentioned it after the 4 or 5 points before, because you have to have a certain level of maturity in the team and the culture to really get to that point. Otherwise, the chemistry doesn't work. It doesn't make any sense. Um, I would complete and conclude by mentioning the importance of continuously communicating the why. Why do we do it? Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense.
Bern said to me before, I don't even know why we call it digital transformation, because effectively, it is business transformation. And what isn't digital nowadays anyway? What really, when we're using any tool?
I think it comes from the past. I was actually saying yesterday to a friend that when you were into digital transformation 15 years ago, you had plenty of jobs called digital transformation director, leader, whatever. You don't have that anymore. First, because digital has become part of any department, and second, I think now we are more into transformation period. And transformation into the business model today comes from range diversification, service strategy, internationalization, new sales channel. So it's not just digital and marketing. It's really finding a way to differentiate your market positioning.